Okay, let's just dive right in. There's this intense feeling online. Someone literally said they feel bad for her and that things have gone a little too far. And you immediately think, it was gone too far. It really grabs you.
Yeah, it does. And the context here, it seems to stem from discussions around, well, Gossip Girl originally, but it's spiraled way beyond the show.
Exactly. This isn't about the TV series, not at all. This is a real-world situation involving Blake Lively, playing out very publicly online.
And the feeling is strong, intense even.
Palpable is the word.
Yeah.
So our mission today really is to unpack this whole digital storm. We need to look at all these like super strong opinions flying around and figure out what's actually driving the way Blake Lively is being treated online right now.
Right, because it's definitely not just typical celebrity gossip. It feels different, heavier.
It really does.
Yeah.
Which is why we need to get into it. And it's messy, right? Not black and white.
Oh, definitely not. People have really complicated views. You see folks saying, look, I have issues with things she's done in the past, but this current pile on, that's something else entirely.
Yeah, separating those two things seems key for a lot of people.
It does. And this comparison that keeps popping up is pretty striking, the witch burning analogy.
Okay, yeah, I saw that too. Tell me about that.
Well, people are saying things like these weird bot pile-ons are giving witch-burning vibes.
Wow.
And also, it feels forced and manufactured at this point. It's this idea that the negativity is excessive, almost irrational, like a mob.
Like the Salem trials, kind of.
Yeah.
Accusations just flying, maybe without solid proof, just fueled by, I don't know, suspicion or something else.
Exactly, that kind of vibe. It suggests the reaction is way out of proportion to any, actual confirmed wrongdoing in the current situation. It taps into that fear of online shaming just getting completely out of hand.
And speaking of proof, or lack thereof, there's a really serious accusation floating around in these discussions. Claims about text message proof from the guy's PR team using online platforms against her, basically alleging a deliberate campaign to trash her reputation online.
Whoa, okay, so actual proof being claimed, like text messages.
That's the claim. Now, we haven't seen these texts, obviously, but just the idea that there might be an orchestrated PR hit job, using online platforms specifically because, as the source mentions, they know how easy it is to tarnish a woman online.
Yeah, that changes everything, doesn't it? It forces you to question how much of the negativity is real, organic opinion versus something manufactured.
Right. Is it genuine outrage or is it like astroturfing?
And that connects directly to the other thing people mention constantly.
Yeah.
Bots.
Yeah, yes, the bots.
So many comments about bot pile-ons. People saying it feels like there are more bots than people here some days.
You see that kind of comment a lot online generally, but here it seems really focused.
It does. And they notice patterns, like spikes in this weird, generic negative activity right when there's news about Lively.
So the implication is pretty clear.
Yeah, that it's not real people. It's automated accounts, maybe part of that same alleged PR strategy designed to just drown out other voices and make her look bad.
Like a digital smokescreen.
Exactly. And people are drawing parallels, too. They're mentioning how similar tactics were supposedly used in the Johnny Depp situation, suggesting this might be a known playbook.
It's like digital noise machines trying to control the narrative.
Yeah.
It makes it really hard to know what's genuine.
But here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Okay.
All this perceived negativity, the bots, the potential smear campaign, it's actually causing some people to swing the other way, to defend her.
Even if they weren't fans before.
Especially if they weren't fans before. I saw this one comment, it was really powerful. Someone said, I didn't like Blake before the smear campaign, but now that she's getting dogpiled, I've changed my tune.
Wow.
And they finished with, it'll be a cold day in hell that I get used in a woman hate train.
Okay, that says a lot about rejecting the pylon itself, regardless of the target.
Precisely. It's like a backlash against the backlash. People see what looks like unfairness, like a mob mentality, maybe even misogyny, and their sense of fair play kicks in.
Even for a celebrity they might have criticized in the past.
Right. It becomes less about Lively specifically and more about rejecting the way the conversation is happening, a resistance to being manipulated into hating someone.
Fascinating. But okay, let's be real. It's not all defense. Her past actions are definitely part of this whole messy conversation.
Oh, for sure. They're being brought up constantly.
The plantation wedding is a big one.
Huge. That always comes up. And her old website, Preserve, with that sort of antebellum South aesthetic. That's mentioned too.
Yeah, that didn't age well. And didn't she have some old comments about self-tanner resurfaced too?
Yep, those are in the mix. Yeah. So you definitely have voices saying, look, these things are serious. They show a pattern. Some people seem more bothered by those past actions than the current stuff.
It's a real point of friction in the discussion.
Absolutely. Which leads to this really crucial point people are trying to make, the nuance.
Can you criticize the past stuff without basically signing off on what might be happening now?
Exactly. Can you hold both ideas at once? Someone put it super bluntly. You can be a victim and a bad person at the same time.
Yeah. That's complex.
It is. It means acknowledging someone might have made mistakes, even serious ones, or had questionable taste, but that doesn't automatically invalidate any claims they might have now or mean they deserve, a massive online pile-on.
It's pushing back against simplistic, like, good guy, bad guy narrative.
Totally. Okay, so let's talk about the context for the current situation, because a lot of this seems to revolve around one person, implicitly at least.
Right. Justin Baldoni. His name doesn't always appear directly next to every comment, but the surrounding discussion points heavily in his direction.
And there's quite a bit of information circulating about him specifically, stuff he said himself even.
Yeah, like that interview he did for the No More Global Dialogue series.
Right, where he talked very openly about how watching pornography really messed with his understanding of consent when he was younger.
He said things like, no means yes or try harder.
Yeah. And it starts to become very confusing, which is definitely something that happened to me. He even admitted, I'm sure I have crossed boundaries and lines in my teens and 20s, BC of the porn I was consuming.
That's quite an admission, especially in this context.
It's significant, yeah. And then you layer on the other stuff being mentioned alongside his name.
Like the theory that his PR team might be using those same tactics we talked about earlier, the ones compared to the Depp situation.
Exactly, fueling that whole orchestrated campaign idea. Plus, there's mention of a lawsuit against him and his company for racial discrimination.
Okay, wow, so that adds another dimension entirely.
It does. And then there's this really disturbing accusation about Travis Flores.
The man with cystic fibrosis.
Yes. The claim is that Baldoni essentially, stole his life story for a project shortly before Flores passed away. There's even mention of Flores' father posting about it.
Jeez. That's incredibly serious. Far beyond a typical Hollywood dispute.
Absolutely. These are heavy allegations circulating in the same space as the Blake Lively discussion.
Okay, so amidst all that, Lively gets slapped with the label Mean Girl.
Yeah. And there's major pushback on that. People are saying, come on, can we please retire the phrase mean girl for adult women?
It does feel pretty reductive and, frankly, kind of sexist, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for workplace issues.
Totally. And some even suggest that label might be part of the bot campaign easy, dismissive shorthand.
Trying to undermine her credibility with a simple trope.
Right. And another concept being debated is weaponizing white woman tears.
Ah, okay. How does that fit in?
Well, the argument is that it doesn't really fit here. People are pointing out that the other party involved is, and I quote, a literal white man backed by a billionaire.
So the power dynamics aren't what that phrase usually implies.
That's the argument. That she isn't necessarily the one with all the institutional power in this specific conflict. They bring up the Amber Heard-Johnny Depp comparison again here.
Suggesting it's more complex than just assuming the woman is leveraging privilege.
Exactly. It challenges that framework in this context.
And underlying a lot of the defense for Lively, even from people who aren't necessarily fans, is this principle.
Believing women, or at least taking their allegations seriously.
Yeah, especially about workplace issues.
Yeah.
There's a strong current of, look, whatever you think of her past, dismissing any woman's claims about workplace problems is bad for all women.
Right. It sets a bad precedent. If you dismiss this one because you don't like her personally or because of the plantation wedding, what happens next time with someone else? It's about the principle.
Makes sense. You got to take the claims seriously on their own merit.
And, through all the back and forth, the accusations, the defenses, there's this underlying feeling.
What's that?
Just a hope that it gets sorted out. People are expressing this wish that the situation is resolved quickly.
Yeah, you can feel the fatigue almost. Let's get some clarity, some closure, and move on from this intense speculation phase.
Definitely a desire to just get past it.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, what have we really seen? It feels like a convergence of, a lot.
For sure. There's this really strong suspicion, backed by anecdotal evidence at least, of a potential smear campaign. Bots, PR tactics.
Then there are these super complex feelings about Lively herself, people acknowledging past issues, but pushing back hard against the current online treatment.
That separation is key. Critiquing the past versus dismissing the present.
And the context around Justin Baldoni adds, layers upon layers of complexity and seriousness to the whole thing.
Absolutely. And the constant reminder, really, of the importance of taking allegations seriously, especially workplace ones.
So for you listening, what does this all mean? I think it shows how intense and, frankly, how easily manipulated online conversations can become, right?
Definitely. Even if it seems like just celebrity drama on the surface, it touches on huge themes. Narrative control, public scrutiny, especially of women, and just figuring out what's real online.
Yeah. What part of this whole situation surprised you the most or maybe felt the most concerning?
It's a good question to ask yourself.
Which kind of leads us to the big takeaway question, doesn't it? In this age where reactions are instant, where bots and PR can potentially shape what we see, how do you tell the difference?
Yeah, how do you separate genuine criticism, genuine accountability from just manufactured outrage? Is it even possible sometimes?
And what's our role in all this? What responsibility do we have individually when we engage online to not get swept up in something that might not be what it seems?
It's a tough one, because if these claims of organized campaigns are true, even partly true, it shows the lengths some might go to control a story.
And you have to wonder who really loses out in the end. Definitely something to think about long after you stop listening.